Clear runny honey looks pure, right? That's the lie. Today we'll rank 9 popular jars and expose why that crystal clear pour often signals heat and heavy filtering, while the raw, grainy stuff is the real deal. Stick around for the 2 sources worth your money and the telltale signs on the label. Single ingredient, raw, unfiltered, visible crystallization, and clear origin. We'll show you which everyday squeeze bottles fall short, which bulk buy surprises, and the 2 picks that deliver real flavor and authenticity without the fake sweet shortcut. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Number 1. De Boer Honey. You see De Boer's glossy pour and think pure. Here's the truth. Non-stop clarity can come from heavy filtering and heat that strip pollen and dull enzymes that tell you the honey's story. Big shelf brands chase squeeze bottle flow and a uniform look. That polish trades real markers of raw honey, those tiny crystals, the quick set, the floral swing, for a smooth stream that looks perfect every day. Independent probes have raised global adulteration risks, and this is where pollen loss matters. When pollen is removed through ultrafiltration, you lose the fingerprint of origin and floral source. Heat or syrup blending slows crystallization so the jar stays runny for months. It's like wiping the barcode off a product and then asking you to trust the price. Raw honey behaves differently. You'll see microcrystals, a firmer body, and a scent that shifts with the season. Lab-verified transparency, clear origin, single ingredient, and processing details help separate real honey from a sweetened lookalike. Enzyme measures like diastase drop with high heat, and high HMF levels signal heat damage over time. Bottom line, if your De Boer jar never clouds and lists vague origins, treat that as a signal, not a perk. Choose single ingredient, clear origin, raw, unfiltered honey. Now at number 2, a crowd favorite with the same always smooth promise and the same concerns. Number 2, Patanjali honey. If your Patanjali honey never sets, that's not a flex. It's a flag. Real honey tends to crystallize as glucose drops out into tiny crystals over time, especially when you store it cool. A forever liquid squeeze feels easy, but that ease can ride on high heat or heavy blending that sands off floral nuance and muddies what's in the jar. Heat tames enzymes and flattens scent, so you taste sweet first and little after. Anonymous taste tests lean toward raw texture because graininess brings depth and aroma. That grainy feel signals minimal processing and the presence of natural bits like pollen. When heat is used to keep it silky, you trade away those cues and you lose character in the finish. Here's the truth. Crystals are not spoilage. That's the myth. Raw honey crystallizes, especially when stored around cool pantry temps. A short warm water bath returns it to liquid without wrecking flavor or the good stuff you paid for. Bottom line, if Patanjali's label skimps on origin and lab proof, pass. Look for raw or unfiltered, a single ingredient, and a floral source or region you can point to. Next up, a US Isle Star that tastes great. But texture truth still matter. Number 3, Nature Nates. Here's the curveball. A smooth honey can still be legit when the brand proves it. Nature Nates scored high in a respected taste test for clean sweetness and complexity, with one tester noting vanilla and cinnamon and a dreamy aroma that stood out. But isn't smooth a red flag? Not always. Raw honeys that are finely strained and kept at low temp can stay pourable, especially when the floral source leans that way or the pantry stays warm. Smooth isn't the problem, proof is. Testers praised the flavor as sweet and floral with depth. That lines up with pollen and enzymes still in the jar, not polished out. The label lists one ingredient, pure honey. The brand also notes it's free of antibiotics, pesticides, and herbicides in that test's good to know notes, and it holds a Chef's Best Excellence Award. Those are signals of care, not shortcuts. Here's the truth. Method matters. Minimal heat, light filtering, and transparent sourcing keep character intact instead of sanding it off. Use that as your filter when you shop. Mini payoff. This works as an everyday pick with balance. Still, real raw honey should slowly crystallize in cool storage. If it never sets, question it. Now to a European shelf staple that wins on shine. Number 4, Langnese. Langnese looks premium. The flow is silky. You expect alpine purity. Here's the truth. That shine can mask how the honey was handled before it hit the shelf. When honey gets ultra-filtered, pollen is stripped. You lose the fingerprint that proves origin and floral source. That's a trade-off sold as clarity, but it weakens your ability to tell real from dressed-up syrup. Heat and microfiltration keep clouding down and push crystals far into the future. Great for a spotless jar, not great if you want raw markers, fuller aroma, and the natural compounds that give honey character. It's like ironing a map until the roads vanish. Neat to look at, useless for finding your way. Research points to color as a clue. Darker honeys tend to carry more antioxidants. Processing aimed at a pale, glass-clear look can trim that edge. Filtration and heat tame the very bits that drive complexity and potential benefits, so you get sweetness first and little after. If you want depth and real cues, skip the endless clear look. Ask for raw or unfiltered named origin, and when possible, lab data that shows what's inside. Next up, a brand with a glow that leans candy sweet, and that's part of the problem. Number 5, Marhaba Honey. Bright gold, big caramel notes, quick hit of sweet. Marhaba looks and tastes clean at first. Here's the truth. That candy snap feels good, but you lose the floral and citrus lift you expect from raw honey with real character. A one-note profile hints at heavy processing or blends built for sameness. That smooth, uniform rush tells you more about the factory goal than the flowers. When sourcing is mixed and heat is used to perfect the pour, terroir gets ironed flat and the jar starts to taste like syrup. Tests show color and straight sweetness don't win. Complexity does. Raw texture, mild crystals, and a layered aroma point to less tampering and more of the natural bits still in the jar. That's the signal you want when you're paying for honey, not a sugar hit. Grainy mouthfeel and a quicker set track with minimal filtration and lower heat. Those tiny crystals are a green flag. They say pollen and enzymes stayed put, which is why the scent lingers and the finish feels fuller. Mini payoff. If Marhaba tastes like candy and never clouds, move on. Choose wildflower or single origin that shows crystals and a bolder scent. Now at number 6, another glossy pour with the same core issue, polish over provenance. Number 6, National Honey. Big jar, low price, easy grab. National Honey looks like a win. Here's the truth. That uniform pour comes with a cost. You trade story and flavor for sameness. Bulk honey chases consistency over character. That often means higher heat and tighter filtration to keep it smooth and clear on the shelf. The result? Less pollen, fewer enzymes, and a flatter taste that tells you little about where it came from. Tester feedback splits fast. Some like the thin, creamy texture for tea and marinades. Others call it one note and forgettable. That gap is your cue. Texture without a traceable source won't tell you what's in the jar or how it was handled. Read the label like a contract. Real honey needs no additives. Single ingredient is the baseline. Look for origin you can point to, not vague lines like blended or broad pack claims. Raw or unfiltered matters because it signals minimal processing. And here's the kicker. Real honey crystallizes. Patterns of clouding and tiny crystals are proof, not a flaw. Mini payoff. If you buy big, buy smarter. Choose wildflower with a named region, raw, unfiltered on the label, and expect crystals to form in cool storage. Next up, the most risky category of all, no brand at all. Number 7, unbranded imports. Generic unbranded supermarket imported honey looks like a steal. Plain squeeze bottle, bargain tag, always clear. Here's the truth. That combo is the danger zone. When there's no brand and the origin is fuzzy, you lose the trail. Weak oversight lets honey get cut with cheap syrups, then ultrafiltration wipes out pollen, the fingerprint that proves where it came from. It stays runny and perfect on the shelf, but the proof is gone. Watch the label. If it skips the country of origin or uses catch-all terms like packed in without a source, you've lost the chain of custody. Adulterated honey looks ideal and pours easy. That's the trap. It's like sanding a key until it's shiny, it won't open any lock. Use real checks. For Manuka, UMF, or MGO numbers matter. For any jar, ask for independent lab tests or, at minimum, a clear region and a raw, unfiltered claim. Crystals are a green flag. Real honey tends to crystallize, especially when it's cool. Bottom line, if the price is dirt cheap and the label says almost nothing, walk away. You're paying for sugar water with a story. Now, the 2 sources that are actually worth your money, and why. Number 1, Al-Shifa Natural Honey. You want a mainstream pick that does the basics right. Single ingredient, clear origin, real flavor, not a lab finish. Al-Shifa leans on transparent labels that tell you where the nectar came from and what you're actually getting. Here's the truth. Big labels can be careful or careless. What protects you is a jar that names the floral type or region and still forms crystals when it sits cool. If it stays slick forever, that's not a brag. That's a process choice. Read the face in the back. Look for a stated source, wildflower, acacia, or a region, not a vague blend. Natural clouding is fine. Darker variants often carry more antioxidants and a deeper taste, so you get more than sugar on the tongue. That's value you can sense. Expect texture to change. Graininess and cool storage is normal for raw-leaning honey and tends to come back even if the jar ships clear. If you want it liquid again, set the jar in warm water. Gentle heat reliquefies without stripping enzymes. Mini payoff. When the label shows origin, 1 ingredient, and it lets natural texture live, you've got dependable daily honey you can trust. Last, a local hero that thrives on transparency and terroir. Number 2, Quetta Cedar Honey. If you can find a trusted local seller of Quetta Cedar honey, you get the trifecta. Rich flavor, visible crystals, and a real origin story. You taste dense body and a deep aroma that lingers. That's what happens when handling stays minimal and the source is real. But local can still go wrong without proof. You need receipts, harvest season, the exact area, and, best case, an independent lab test. Ask clear questions about feeding practices too. Sugar syrup changes the profile and hides the truth. Cedar is prized for fast crystallization in cool weather, a natural result of its glucose to fructose balance. Those crystals are a green flag, not a flaw. They tell you heat and filtration stayed low. It's terroir in a jar, like a vineyard note you can smell and feel. Independent labs check the right markers. Pollen profile to verify floral source, diastase to show enzyme activity, and HMF to flag heat damage. Sellers who share those results earn trust because they show the chain, not just the shine. Mini payoff, buy from known beekeepers or vetted shops. Ask for test reports. Expect crystals. If it sets fast in your pantry, that's quality talking. Time to close the loop and give you the simple buying rules. Here's the truth. Clear, forever runny honey flatters the eye but hides the process. Raw, grainy, darker honey shows the real signals. Minimal heat, pollen intact, traceable source. Shiny jars sell, but they don't prove purity. Think of it like a polished apple with wax. Nice gloss, less trust. Your move. Read for 1 ingredient, raw or unfiltered, and a stated origin. Pick jars that crystallize in cool storage. Support sellers who post lab tests so you know what's in the jar. Want the truth about what's really safe? Subscribe now so you won't get fooled. Bottom line, don't pay extra for shine, pay for proof.